viewers, Danny Flexent here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by the voice of Queensberry Promotions. I know he loves this, Dev Sahni.
Every time, Danny. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. I've just heard you warming up your vocal cords in preparation for the press conference today. Big show at York Hall, the home of British boxing, of course, on Friday night. Now, originally, this had a Hamza Shiraz, Liam Williams main event. That's been postponed until the new year. Who do you think from the crop of what was the undercard will emerge shining stars on the new bill?
Look, I think it's just all Moses Itama in particular. I feel like the world is watching his story now because of that statement that he made when he turned pro, that he's going to become the youngest ever world heavyweight champion, because of what he achieved as an amateur, the fact that he was unbeaten as an amateur and a world amateur champion. Everyone's watching what's going to happen. He could become 7-0 on Friday night. So that's I think globally, that's a great story. This Emiliano Marsili fella, 47 years old, unbeaten. He's been a pro since 2003, so unbeaten in 20 years. So it'd be interesting to see if Gavin Gwynne can be the man to sort of send him into retirement. Or maybe not. You know, Derry Matthews probably thought he was going to beat an old Marsili back in 2012, you know, when he was like 35. And of course, look, Sam Noakes, you don't get many fighters out there who have got a 100% knockout rate. He's got that. He's 11-0 with 11 knockouts. So if he gets another nice knockout against this Carlos Perez fella, who his mum refers to, Sam Noakes' mum has referred to Carlos Perez as a handsome chap, so that'll add a little strand to it.
Soapy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he can make a bit of a name for himself as well, especially considering Mark Chamberlain. Great performance last week. Well, I thought so anyway. You know, dramatic last round knockout. Let's see if Sam Noakes can have similar drama.
Now, looking a bit further ahead, there's obviously a huge show of the year, in my view, and in view of many, on December 23rd in Riyadh, Day of Reckoning. Frank Warren, your boss, very much involved. What do you make of particularly the Daniel Dubois-Jermell Miller fight? Not just, I know a lot of people focusing on Miller's checkered past, shall we say, but just in terms of how competitive a fight it could be. The bookies have got Miller as a 6-1 underdog.
Have they really?
I was very surprised by it.
I am also very surprised by that. Look, I feel like you'd be giving Daniel Dubois an easier sort of comeback fight after Usyk. What he's ended up in with is an unbeaten, loud-mouthed American who will be 100 pounds heavier than him on fight night and will be walking him down. That's a pressure fighter. That's a nightmare. But Daniel Dubois has got the artillery to deal with that. If he hits him very hard in the face, he could probably knock him out. That's the thing. If anyone can, it's Daniel Dubois. So I think it's a very good fight. 6-1 sounds crazy for Miller. Yeah, I mean, Miller hasn't really put a foot wrong in the ring so far in his career. Like he's looked like decent, right? He's looked like a handful. So I don't know, a lot of it's going to come down to, I think, mentality. If Daniel Dubois doesn't get early success and then it goes late, what happens? Does he still have his confidence in the second half of the fight? Does he still throw the big punches and land the big punches? Or does Miller wear him down? I think it's a fascinating fight.
What do you make of the other side of it? There is criticism that he's getting Miller another big money opportunity given his past, but he has served his time. He is now VADA 24/7, I believe, and I've interviewed him recently. He seems like a reformed character, but I'm not going to act like I know him really well. What do you make of it and the criticism?
I just think, look, this is the sport that we're in now, and as you say, he's done his time, as have several fighters in the past done their time and come back, and look, he's there, he's involved. He does seem, as you say, somewhat reformed. So yeah, look, I've got no real issue with it.
And then the TV side of things, I think a lot of people were taken by surprise that it's going to be shown globally on DAZN rather than TNT, for example, given Frank's prominence within the promotion. Were you, I'm assuming you weren't surprised, you probably knew before we did, but were you taken aback when you first heard?
I think it says there could be more broadcasters coming on board. I think that was in the initial press release. Yeah, so DAZN obviously is global. TNT isn't global in every territory, so yeah, let's see.
Even sharing it with DAZN, if that is what happens, is that a case of putting the success of the promotion above kind of partisan rivalries?
No, I feel like it's a good thing, right? That everyone's working together, and so often in the past you'd see broadcasters getting in the way of each other and then fights falling apart. This is a fight card with a number of fighters that have numerous sort of broadcast deals, and it's working. So this is a real positive step. I think it's very encouraging for boxing, and it shows the power of what the Saudis are doing. They're just like, okay, let's just get this done, and everyone's like, okay, let's get it done then. It's a good thing.
Given in the past, though, that Frank has called DAZN the app, dead zone, an unworkable model at one point as well. Is that kind of a concern? Could he be open to charges of hypocrisy, or has he just changed his mind?
I think, look, things evolve. I think DAZN are doing very well. They're growing as a platform as well. I think in the early doors they were somewhat niche, but more and more, especially big events like this, they are growing. There's no doubt about that. So everyone says different things at different times. I'm sure plenty of swipes have been sent towards Frank too. But the good thing is everyone is working together on this show, and looks like we're in a very, very good place with it.
Were you there when Frank and Eddie Hearn met for the very first time?
No, I missed that. I missed it. I wish I had seen it. I've heard about it. I've heard how George brought them together and say, hey, no messing about, that kind of thing. But I haven't actually seen them meet. I met Eddie, though, and he seemed all right.
Was he keen to meet you? That's what I've heard.
Oh, I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was. No, he was quite nice about me, actually. I saw in his column, he said I did a good job for the press. I was like, oh, that's nice. Thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua's review might be slightly different.
I think so. Well, he wouldn't know how good a job I did. He didn't want to talk, did he?
Well, presumably he didn't take that personally. It seemed like he was just in an edgy frame of mind, regardless of who was asking the questions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really read much into it anyway and take anything personally. If he wants to do it again, he can do it again. I'll just crack on doing my job and doing the best I can do.
You must see the positives of it as well, that it's raised your profile even more so.
Absolutely. I saw the positives as soon as I finished the press conference, and my Twitter said 20 plus in the notifications, and Michael Benson had tweeted about Anthony Joshua not liking me.
Is that the first time you've been featured in a Benson tweet?
The last one, I have been in one before when I think it was the Dubois Usyk presser in Poland, and I was there as like a Queensberry rep. Like there was no Frank, there was no George or anything like that. So I was like saying, he's going to knock you out and all of this sort of stuff. So but Benson grabbed it and put it out there. But yeah,
you're almost right.
No, well, I was close. I was close.
Yeah. Talking of Eddie, a neat segue though it might not be, there's reports this week in the Daily Mail that Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn is now being finalised for February the 3rd at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What do you make of it as a fight, and also as Conor Benn fighting with or without board sanction?
Yeah, as a fight, it's... I don't know. Has it gone past its level of interest now? I don't know. It feels like when they had that first face-off, right, and it looked like an episode of Brookside, right, and the way that it was all dramatically done, like that feels like a moment, yeah, where it was just like heightened. Oh, this is gonna be great. And then all of the controversy that sent the profile of the fight up. But I just feel a bit tired now with it. So just get on with it, get it out of the way. Great, cool. What do I think of it as a fight? It's not like catch weight anymore, is it? So he's actually going up to 160, which you'd have to at this point favour Chris Eubank big time if it's at 160 with no catch weight, no rehydration or anything like that. It's an interesting fight that will capture the public's opinion. Yeah, I'll certainly be watching it.
How do you feel about them putting the fight on when Conor Benn has yet to resolve his issues with the Board of Control? I mean, we could go back and forth over whose fault that is, the delay, and UCAD also. But should they be going ahead with it, not knowing if the board are going to sanction it or give him a licence?
It's not really for me to say. Let's see what they do. I mean, if they are able to just go ahead and do that, it sort of exposes a bit of a flaw, doesn't it? That if they are able to just go and do that, but from their side they feel they're completely resolved and they're in the clear, so they're cracking on. And if they can crack on and do it, they're going to do it, aren't they?
You said you'll certainly be watching. You can see the appetite for it. Do you see it filling the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, as Tyson Fury has, of course?
I think they've got a chance. They've got a chance. they'll have some good press conferences. They'll have some good needle, bit of pushing and shoving, I'm sure. Maybe Senior will get involved, and Nigel Benn will get involved as well. If they can do all of that, then they've got a chance, certainly. It's a big stadium though. I mean, I don't know. I think it definitely does the O2. It's got a chance of doing the Tottenham Stadium.
And just on that, would you like to see Tyson Fury? We know he's going to be in Riyadh in February, but after that, would you like to see him return to British shores for his coming fights, fill stadiums once again?
It feels like at the top end of the sport right now, Riyadh is the place to be, and Tyson Fury is at the top end of the sport right now. So, as much as I would, it is Riyadh season, yeah. But I mean, you can get a couple of fights in Riyadh season. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we will see him back in the UK anytime soon. I think he will go where he can make the most money, and rightly so, as a prize fighter at the top end for the hardest fights. Yeah, so I don't know. I'd love to see him back here, but don't know.
And just a quick final binary choice. If Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder both come through their fights on December 23rd, do you see AJ fighting Wilder next, or fighting someone else for the IBF title next?
I would love to see the Wilder fight. I have wanted to see it for years and years and years. I think there is that IBF route as well, though, which will be tempting for them. So if they're able to beat Otto Wallin, they can then go and fight HRGOVIC for potentially a vacant belt at some point. So they'll be tempted by that, and I'd understand why they would do that and not fight Wilder. But fans and everyone would just want to see the Wilder fight. So I don't know what they'll do. I feel like if he beats Otto Wallin, then they will probably go towards HRGOVIC. But I'm 55-45 towards the HRGOVIC.
That's still 5% off the fence, so I'm happy with that. Dev, always a pleasure.
Trying to be nice.
Cheers, mate.